This is probably the only time I've thought it would be worthwhile to invest in a teleprompter. A few weeks ago, I finished my 6th NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month. It was my 4th win, as I succeeded in my goal of writing 50,000 words in the month of November. This doesn't mark the completion of the drafting stage of my 4th novel, however. Uh, Out of my 4 wins, and the associated 200,000 plus words, only one draft of a novel has actually been completed. The novel I was working on this past month is longer than 50,000 words, and I need probably another 15 to 20,000 words to complete it. The novel I won with last in 2016 is also still unfinished and is an epic fantasy story that'll probably wind up being in the neighborhood of 200,000 words all by itself. The novel I won with in 2015 was a ground up rewrite of the novel I won with in 2014, which was the first time that I ever set the goal of completing NaNoWriMo. So, if you follow my math, that's one finished draft overall in 2015. And that's fine. I'm proud of what I accomplished, and I'm currently in a good state of mind to set some new goals and work on the last couple thousand words of this new novel. But in the weeks since the end of November, as I figured out what to do next, I've spent quite a bit of time thinking about goals and completing things in general. And I've realized that something that I'm not sure I've ever been able to really articulate before. The only times I've ever been able to accomplish anything or make anything, any kind of significant change in my life, have all begun with setting a goal and then, crucially, giving myself permission to fail. There's a sort of obnoxious irony in that, believe me. I know, but it's true. I couldn't finish a novel before 2014. I had dozens of projects going absolutely nowhere. I'd set goals about word counts, I'd set goals to write for a certain amount of time each day, and none of them got me anywhere. And then my brother told me about NaNoWriMo, and I thought to myself, what the heck, let's do it. I spent a week or so in preparation for the thing in late October, and then I launched in on November 1st. And I expected to fail. Fully. See, even for a lot of professional, published, popular authors, 50,000 words in a month is rough. You're about to tell me Brandon Sanderson's writing schedule, and I'm going to head you off right now. Just keep that out of the comments. He's a ridiculous anomaly in virtually every way. For most writers to do this, they have to accept that the goal is simply to get words on the page and that they can be fixed later. Because, especially if you're not writing full time, uh, 50,000 words is a lot to put down. And many of them in that situation are going to be crap. You don't have the time to fix them. You make mistakes, you get them onto the page, and you forge onward. And for a lot of people, myself included, that's physically painful. So going into November in 2014, I knew it was going to be hard, and I probably wouldn't make it. But what the heck, I thought I may as well give it a shot. And that relieved so much pressure. Even when the bad days would roll around when I'd only write a couple of dozen words, or I'd miss entire days at a time, looking back, I'm pretty sure I didn't actually write the entirety of the Thanksgiving weekend that year. It didn't matter. I'd already given myself permission to screw it up and not finish anyway, so I'd just start back up writing the next day like nothing had happened. I'd do my best to write as much as I could, and go smiling on my way. When the last few days of November rolled around, I realized that I'd just completed my first novel at about 48,000 words, and that to meet my goal I needed a little over 1,000 to finish it off. I jumped back 100 pages or so, added a single scene, and finished it off at about 50,100 words. The final product was so awful, I rewrote the entire thing again the next year, but it was done. Novel drafted. Goal achieved. And to go along with that, author flabbergasted. Confused. Thrilled. But the trend bears up under scrutiny. Whenever I want or need to make a change in myself to achieve something, I have to start with a sincere desire to try and then follow that up with some goals. I've got to write those goals down, become accountable to myself or someone else, and then look at myself in a mirror and give myself permission to screw it up. It's important to recognize that this isn't a removal of responsibility or accountability. If my desire to meet those goals is actually sincere, I'll try my hardest. But if I don't have permission to fall short every now and then, I'm going to get into my own head when I inevitably do, which makes me depressed, and then I'm going to fall even further, which makes me more depressed, which makes me fall harder, which turns into this wonderful cyclical pattern of depression and failure that leaves me in a pit that takes forever to climb out of. Falling short is okay. I mean, it's actually not sometimes, but for the love, you're not perfect. Even if it's not okay, you're going to do it anyway despite your best efforts, and beating yourself up over it will accomplish nothing. So you fell short. You did. It's true. It would be stupid to pretend that that wasn't what that was. It's okay. Step back, deep breath, recenter yourself, and commit to it again. Renew your commitment to the folks you've got holding you accountable, if they're there. They're probably a little disappointed, but hopefully they understand, and hopefully they can see your commitment is real despite the stumbles. After all, they stumble in their own ways too. And if it helps, if you need to hear it, you have my permission to fail. You really do. Feel free to hold yourself to a higher standard. Go ahead and look at the mess you just made. It's real. It happened. I'm sorry to say. But the goal is still worth all this effort. You are still worth all this effort. So keep it up. You'll get it eventually, and you're gonna feel amazing when you do.